Well, now I want to turn to Jim Traverna. Jim is going to do something that I think is important, and that's take off some old decals and replace them.
So the title of the presentation is Removing Decals, but with the subtitle of Trying to Preserve the Paint Job. So I figured I'd take an overview of what we're trying to do here, and that starts us with a question about why am I doing it? And so here we have two diesels, two F7s from the same company, importer. The one on the left is an earlier version, a really nice running model. And the one on the right is a later version that's about 3 times as expensive as the one on the left. But you can see the improvements that have been made in the lettering between the original model and then the newer version. And the model on the left was painted and lettered using a very old Champ set. I don't know why the manufacturer ever used that. And so it really is, as you can see, well oversized, and it really looks quite garish on the side of the engine. So our objective would be to take this all off and to maintain the paint job, so to give us an easier chore to then re-letter it. So to give you an overview, the B unit in the back looked the same as the A unit in the foreground, but that I've already stripped the lettering off, and I haven't done any improvement or repair to the factory paint. And now we're going to start doing the A unit. So my main tools for the project are some sanding boards that you get at a woman's beauty aid store. I was out and visiting with Lee Turner out in Detroit, and he took me into this, I think it was called Sally's or something like that, which I had never visited before. And so I was a rookie, and they gave me then a gift as I joined their frequent flyer program. And so I picked up a very nice purse. And then when I came home from that business trip, I presented it to my wife. And so not only did I get some manicure boards, I was also a hero for about 2 or 3 days. So that was quite a benefit. But those are manicure boards that women use to do their nails, or file boards. And the pink one on the right has a 600 grit and a 500 grit on the board, and the one on the left is a little coarser in the 400 grit range. You'll also see that the one on the right has been sort of cut off, and what I do is I use a heavy scissor and I cut the ends of the boards to match the work that I want to do to make them more usable than just dealing with the rounded corners. So now I've taken the body shell off the drive and laid it out on the workbench, which of course, as you can see, is in my usual organized look to it, and got started on working on the body and removing the lettering. So one of the things I noticed as I was getting ready to start, there's an awful lot of rivets around that lettering. And so I'm going to have to do something to protect the rivets, because the files will, the emery boards will take the rivets off along with the lettering if you're not careful, because they're very fine and they're only in a soft brass. And the lettering really does look pretty garish when you look at it in that kind of a close-up. And so when I start, the first thing I have to do is I put a couple of drops of water. In this case, it's decal water, which is distilled. And I lay that on the body because I want to make a slurry with the emery board, the paint and lettering I'm removing, and it makes it almost like you're honing or taking off things using the material itself as well as the emery board, and that protects the paint too and minimizes the scratching. So here's the blue emery board, which was a little coarser. I've only taken a few strokes now with the water there, and you can see that the stripe is already gone, and half the number in the fork and the large number in the front of the engine is gone. But the problem is that it also has a clear backing. One of the differences between using the rub-ons, like we talked about last week, and now the decals on this, the backer is a real pain in the neck to get off because it's underneath the protective finish, and then it is adhered and sort of blended into the paint from using Solvaset or whatever the manufacturer used to set those Champ decals. And so you can very lightly make out the line of the backer right below the numbers, and that's what I have to be sure I have off. Otherwise, when I go to put the new lettering on, you're going to see that underneath the paint. So here again, you could just make out that line. But here I've taken a few more strokes, and you can see that's the honing effect, if you would. I've got material from the lettering, the water, and so forth on the board, and that lubricates the work as I'm trying to take off the material. So a few more strokes, and we're moving right along. And now we're going on to the next phase. And if you look to the right, you can see that all the lettering is gone. There's a very faint outline that I will go back and address where the outline of the numbers were, and then also the stripe. Now in this area here, we're going to address that a little later because it's very hard to use those emery boards as you get close to the ladders and stuff like that. Here I've covered the rivets with masking tape so that as I file this, the masking tape will take the brunt of the blow and protect the rivets. Again, I put the water on, and now I work panel by panel. So I go from here to here, and I go in there with my emery board to take that off. And so you can see here, I've cut the emery board square so that it fits in there, and one side here is for getting closer, even in the closer areas where there's less space. And I've done now the 3 panels here and the panel here. I've also taken off the lettering down here that was for the unit number and so forth that they have on the back of the unit. And you can see I've taken some paint off of the vertical batten strips, but I've been using the tape on the horizontal big rivets, and so they've been protected. Now I have to get this off, and again I have problems with the vertical items on here that are protecting these decals. So we're going to address them with a rotary tool, the heavy gun I call it. It's a flexible disc. It's from a jewelry company, and so it's made to do very fine work. And it's a flexible tip of 3 layers on that. It's a product made by 3M, and it has diamond dust in the ends of those fingers. So it's extremely efficient in taking things off, which means you have to be a little careful as you use it. But now you can see that I've taken off the balance of the stripe and so forth right around the handrails. I got to do it on the doors and in those last couple of spots right in here. And also what I do is I want to go in and I want to balance the finish. So I use that at very, very lightly over the entire panel. And then I go in with that 600 grit, and then I smooth everything with that as well. So finished on one side, flip it over, water's out there again. So, and this is all have to come off. So we proceed and do that. So here we have the engine finished. Total time elapsed is probably about half an hour in doing the whole thing. And so I have these blushes or blends where I've taken some of the paint off the raised surfaces, which is the vertical batten strips, and that's why I have to repaint the body only in the areas I worked. So we'll have to go in and mask. So here we are looking at it, and you can see there's some the areas where the paint has been removed, but the rest of it, it's clean, and the finish is pretty consistent all the way around to here. And so I can go on now and get ready to put some fresh paint to get rid of all the fine micro scratches that I've made. Here's the B unit, and it's not quite finished. I still have to do the doors and these areas with that motor tool. Unfortunately, Dremel is not making that motor tool anymore, but it is a really handy tool. And then I've upgraded the battery using a Chinese high efficiency battery. That tool is extremely handy in a lot of ways. But anyway, so this is almost done, so I'm getting ready for masking. So here's the B unit. I've taken off the last of those decals, and now I've masked it. So I've covered the grills and I've covered the windows. So I take the masking from up here at the edge of the roof down to just above the batten strip here. And this has been sprayed Brunswick green. And this is the whole door had to be sprayed because I had to take the stripe off the middle of the door, and it's a single sheet of metal. So there's no way that I could disguise the joint, so I had to redo the door. And now this is the A unit after it's had his treatment, and you can see it was masked right here and then right along there. And so everything down here is fresh paint on top of the buffed surface. And then, as we did in our session last week, these are rub-on letters with the Pennsylvania. It's a longer name than on the tender we did, but it's the same basic process. And then this and this are Champ decals that match the color and are the right size fonts. So we've got the engine getting close. This is the B unit up here, and it's been done. And so now we have the whole thing back together. And you can see after I spray it with the dull coat brings all of the paint together in the same finish. So you can't see any kind of line over here where I protected the number boards and so forth, but I had to take off that bullet that was oversized on the previous set and all through here. So this is a finished engine that looks in a unicolor, and it's all blended together using the scale coat paint. I've also upgraded the details because now I've added all the little things like water, fuel. I've put higher detail on the fuel tank. I've added a builder plate, and then this is a Pennsy markings for the engine house that the engine is maintained in. And here's the B unit, and this is a side shot, so you can see you can't tell that this was not painted and this was painted, and the thing all blends together. And so final product, here it is on the layout. And so for me, it was worth it. And so it's a little bit of effort, and sometimes you feel like your heart's in your mouth, but it really goes well. So thank you for your time, and if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to ask.
Jim, I think that's just gorgeous modeling. I can't thank you enough for showing us how to do this and encourage us to try it, because that really did come out just beautiful.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Yeah, it's I'm finding you can do more with paint and decals than you really think you can in terms of changing models or bringing models back from the dead.